to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to touch frequently touched surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Are you watching how fast you're going? I didn't know I was speeding.
I was going down a hill.
Speed?
I didn't see the sign.
I don't think so.
But nobody else is on the road.
My foot fell asleep.
I gotta pick up my kids at daycare.
Is it because I'm driving a red car?
I didn't see you. My wife's going into labor, sir.
I didn't know. I was looking at a different gauge.
I'm not really from around here.
Something must be wrong with the speedometer.
Trust us, we've heard it all. Now hear this. There's no excuse for speeding.
But I always go this fast.
How many times have you wanted to make a change? Change in our schools, in our environment, and in our relationship with other countries. Well, guess what? You can make that change. All you have to do is vote for the people who you feel will bring about these changes. It is not enough to complain or just hope that things will get better. Stop backseat driving and steer our country where you think it should go. Some people think that one vote doesn't matter. But each vote gives politicians a better understanding of the opinions of the people they are representing. Opinions on important issues such as gun control, education reform, immigration, climate change, and abortion. Without our vote, they would have no idea what we think of these issues. In the last presidential election, only 57.5% of eligible citizens voted. That means politicians are unaware of the opinions of nearly half of the country. Each vote is a chance to speak your mind and work towards a better country and a better world. So vote for someone who you think could help us get there. Vote for how you want our country to change.
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
Hello, folks, and welcome back. If you
Chief, Sinbad, it's always good hearing from you all. I hope you are staying safe, keeping your family healthy.
Hey, Phil.
Dr. Wakefield, I want to thank you for taking my call. I live in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'm the director of a youth organization. Dr. Wakefield, I'd like to get your perspective on how we are dealing with our juveniles and how they are victims of domestic violence. Too often, I have to respond to situations where the children, young people, are out in the streets or at school, and they are just out of control. Many times when I calm them down, I find that they've been up till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning listening to their parents or parents and friend fight, tear the house up. And not only are they tired and frustrated, but they are angry. COVID has made that even worse because now the children cannot even or should not get away from the fussing, the fighting. They're stuck in the middle of it. Too many times the children are actually pulled into that conflict, and that simply never goes well. We are always, or too often, and it's rightfully so, we have concerns about the adults We should. We should. But I don't think there's enough attention that's given to the children who fall victim to this. I would even go further to say, I'm one who believes that to some degree, domestic violence is somewhat of a learned behavior. If you grow up in a household where it was common practice for mom and dad to have physical altercations 3 times a week, and you see dad gets his way because he bounces mom around, too many children take on that same persona as they grow older. We've seen a lot of that. But again, we don't give it enough thought. We don't understand children more so than adults. They do not want to talk about these kind of things that go on in their homes. Adults, you're right, they can talk to a coworker, they can talk to a preacher, but children, they don't have those outlets. They don't. And so this stress, this trauma, it just continues to build until it spills out most often in the wrong place. Why are we not giving more time, more attention to the children? Why are we not understanding that too many of our children come to school and cannot concentrate? They simply cannot learn because of this trauma that they've had to deal with every week of their young lives. That's, if you have a response, I'd surely like to hear it.
Okay, you have hit on some things that I probably would have responded with. First of all, the parents are our children's first teacher. So they're getting this role model of how we handle anger, how we handle stressful situations. That's the role model that we provide for them, unfortunately. I've always said, because I'm a 42-year-plus educator, that so often parents make children at risk because they're demonstrating these kinds of things. And the thing that also, too, is that if we could spend some time with our children, I mean, I have actually in this community appealed to our school district to help children be more exposed to healthy relationship situations. For example, I asked the librarians to pull books aside so the children could begin to read more about healthy relationships and what they look like. I asked health teachers. I went to the school district and asked them if they, during those health class times, could they talk about those kinds of things that relate to healthy relationships. We as adults have to be models for these kids to help them understand, because and statistically they say when children see these kinds of behaviors going on in their homes, especially males, it perpetuates the same kind of behavior later in life. And so, if we could appeal to the parents, first of all, to help them understand that they are the first teacher. This is what we're teaching our children. We don't want this to happen. Can you get some help for your relationship? I know that's easier said than done, but trying to get parents to get help for their relationships would actually be good. But also, too, if we can provide materials for children and have activities various places. Right now, it's tough to have any kind of an activity, but I know that one of the things that I'm trying to do through our domestic violence program is to provide some things that kids and adults can see through Facebook or YouTube that will address some of these issues to help them to kind of address these specific issues that we're talking about, whether it's bullying, whether it's kids, helping kids understand how to handle anger better, whether it's sibling rivalry. A number of topics could be addressed, but if we could provide those kinds of things through the medium that kids relate to. They're on Facebook, They're on YouTube. They're on some of those things. I mean, some of the venues we have to go to our children to provide that kind of resource for them, and continue to talk to them, continue to listen to them. So often our children are not listened to because the parents who are fighting, they can't hear what the kids are talking about. But if you have an opportunity yourself to just listen to a child that is stressed and give them a sense of hope that they can stay safe, stay out of the way. Maybe they need to find a friend that they can talk to, the same as I gave a number of ideas of things to do for adults. Kids may need to do that. Who can you talk to? Where is a safe place for you in the house? Where is a friend or neighbor or someone that you can go to when things are really tough, that you may need to be out of the fray of what's going on? There's things like that come, off the top of my head right now to say, hopefully those are the kinds of things that could help a child who's really in distress. But as their first teacher and as adults, I think we all can, even if it's not your child, if you can give another child some words of wisdom, a listening ear would be so beneficial.
Sure. And Dr. Wakefield, kind of talk to us about the STOMP program, because I know that has been your baby along with your sorority sisters for many years, and I've had the pleasure of conducting some seminars at the STOMP program. But kind of talk to the audience about what STOMP is and what the goals of STOMP are and how people can participate in it.
STOMP actually means standing together opposing misuse of power. We had a sorority sister who lost her life due to domestic violence, and it was very important for us to develop a program that could address this, mainly because I think here is a sorority sister that was very close to different people within the sorority, but it wasn't something that she talked about. Their sorority members did not know that there were these kinds of issues that were going on in her relationship. And so therefore, I don't really believe that people knew that she was in jeopardy of losing her life due to this particular situation. And so I wasn't a part of the original group that did get together, and thank God they did. But they pulled it together one day, one evening, and started thinking about some things that we could do to make sure that this happened to anyone else. Unfortunately, since that time in 2017, we lost another sorority sister. But again, we are really trying to educate the public, first of all, about what it is. And we have provided a number of workshops that give signs and symptoms, de-escalating. We've had people talk about different specific situations that have affected them. I know as you and Amber were involved, we divided up into groups and had teens in one group, we had young adults in another, and we had our seniors in another group, the chronologically advanced group, as I call them, had their little time, and they were able to discuss things, because we have to remember it happens with elders too. It's called elder abuse, but Sure. It's also there are situations within that we have to be aware of. And so we have provided a number of workshops to make sure that people have had help. Last year I had the largest number of community resources involved. I had 18 exhibitors. I don't want to call them vendors because you can't come and sell anything. They were exhibitors, from counselors. We had the Neighborhood Justice Center. We had Dress for Success. We had just various Safe House, the Victims of Violent Crimes, just different community organizations that were very, very helpful and were available to listen to people and their concerns. We've had Metro involved so that we could have anyone who really needed some immediate